Michelangelo.
I saw the angel in the marble and kept sculpting until I realized it. Florence, a city carved out of stone. What the Kaaba means to Muslims, Florence has a similar value to the artist of the period. The main way to understand and get to know an artist is to know the society and environment in which he lives, while interpreting his works. He was born in Caprese in 1474 as the second child of the Bonetta family. His father wrote the day of his birth on the lines as follows. I remember it like today, March 6, 1474. A son was born, named him Michelangelo. He was born on a Monday for 5 hours before dawn when I was mayor of Caprese. He was apprenticed at the age of 13 in Florence, which turned into a construction site next to the fresco painter Domenico Ghirlandaio. Michelangelo's teachers were always criticizing his lessons and his situation at school, and Michelangelo was running away from the lessons and going to the pattern design and driving lessons in the church. And he felt that he belonged here. In short, we can say that student life is spent with the driving teachings of Giotto and Botticelli. While the sculptors of the period such as Botticelli and the young Leonardo da Vinci were wandering the streets, it was impossible not to be impressed by their art. The best teaching in every art movement is to imitate the master. Every beam of light filtering through Domenico Ghirlandaio's works was breaking Michelangelo's dogmatic judgments and was the first step in his design transforming from sketch to sculptures filled with plaster mortar. The statue of David appears today as an outstanding work left by Michelangelo, who lived in Florence, to the city where he lived. In his work, we see the concentrated reflection of the body of Saxon David. The moment when the prophet David threw a stone at Goliath. In the work, the shaping of the veins in the arms and legs of David and the detail of the stone he will throw the Goliath are realized. Michelangelo, who has advanced knowledge of anatomy, performs his art with exact measurements based on the male form in this work. In this sculpture, the lower body is kept longer than the upper body, and art historians have made various interpretations for this reason. The prominent interpretation is to provide a proportional view for someone looking from below, since the work will be placed on top of a church. Not only the people of Florence were affected by the work, but also Leonardo da Vinci, one of the main artists of the period. He goes in front of the statue and starts making sketches. Another work of Michelangelo, also known as The Man Who Gives Soul to Stone, is The Creation of Man. The work is a piece of fresco in the fresco group on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. When we divide the work into form where the fingers meet, in the piece on the left, Adam is sitting in a garden of paradise, almost exhausted and powerless. The musculoskeletal system in the body is reflected in detail and close to perfection. Biblical, God created man in his image. Inspired by the sentence, the body lines of Adam are very similar to the body lines of the God. The God's body is young and strong, his hair and beard and depicted in white, symbolizing a wise stance. In the picture, it looks as if the God will transfer life in energy by touching the man. Another extraordinary idea in the fresco by depicted the cut of the brain lobe behind God and the angels next to him, shows those who see the God when intelligence to man and gave him the ability to use it. Although the statue seems small compared to the church it is in, Michelangelo reflected the relationship of the Virgin Mary embracing her son's dead body or her niece. Maryam looks so young and beautiful. We can feel the weight of the dead body with its knees spread out of the supports of her son's body. Michelangelo turned all this marble into flesh, and we can understand the weight of the body that this weight belongs to. And in the body of Jesus is very realistic. We see the body of a young man, his rib cage, his abdominal muscles. There is an interesting contrast in the figure of Mary. She is extremely cute and beautiful, but she is big and mighty enough to easily carry this body in her arms. Mary bows her head and looks at him, while Jesus' head dropped back, and Jesus' neck is completely open and defenseless. This statue was designed to show the suffering of Jesus, and of course, the suffering of the Virgin Mary. The famous poet John Berger, in his book Portrait, included Michelangelo's statement that the sexual organ was at the focal point of the David statue, in order to show the idea of trying to interpret it out of the ordinary, that is, to evaluate the facts in paintings, sculptures, or photographs with different interpretations. The comment he expresses to John Berger on this subject is an expression of his sincerity, or perhaps the fact that his aesthetic criterion has led him to such a description, because, according to John Berger, the uniqueness of the body could only become tangible in this way.